we are going to practice stippling with this worksheet. It is in your folder. We're not going to do everything that's on here because it lists as pen and pencil, hatching, cross-hatching, stippling. I want you to really practice using black with different sizes to create stippling, and then I want you to try out using colors to show a transition and value. All right, so I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You can use any of the sections here. I'm going to, I'll just do it in this section here. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to start out kind of with this smaller guy. And I'm going to start stippling. So I'm going to come in with dots. And I'm definitely not jamming down the marker as hard as I can. I'm taking my time. When you start going too fast, you end up with like little tails that look like this, like little lines. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for these dots that are only dots, and I'm not gonna mess up the tip of my markers trying to do it. I'm just gently coming in, and this is gonna be my lightest section of value. So I'm kind of spacing my dots out. And then I'm gonna start to get closer together, and I'm still with this ultra fine. So you can see they're starting to get closer together. As they get closer together, it's going to give the appearance that it's darker shaded. And again, I'm taking my time with this. If I'm just do one, I'm gonna ruin my marker, which is gonna not be good. And two, it's not gonna look good. I need to really pay attention to the darks and lights in my artwork so that I can create the different values. Okay, so I'm letting this guy get closer together. Again, not going too fast. If I'm on my final project and I get going too fast and end up with these little tails, you're gonna wanna grab an expo marker, go over the section that you added those little tails in, and you're gonna wanna clean it up. So you just go right over it in expo and wipe it off because it's gonna be on plastic. All right, so you can see my value is getting darker. And I'm gonna work my way all the way down, allowing the value to change as I go down. Getting denser and denser together with my dots. And I'm gonna fill the whole section. Then I'm gonna try that in a little bit bigger of a marker. So I'm gonna try it in a fine point marker, the exact same thing in a fine point marker, okay? And again, it doesn't really matter which section on this worksheet that you do it in. We're just gonna use the boxes as a guide, but we're not really following what it says inside of it necessarily. So just choose a rectangle to try out the different methods. So I'm gonna fly through and show you the fine point next, and then I'm gonna show you using the actual colors, okay? So here's what it looks like. I went from light to dark, spreading them out, same marker, just getting closer together, okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and real quick fly through with this one. And again, doesn't really matter. Whoops, it would help if it worked. If you find ones that don't work, please get rid of them. So these are just gonna be a little bolder of dots because of the size of the tip of the marker. And you can play with the variety of sizes in your actual artwork too. Like if I wanna incorporate both of these into my artwork, that is fine and probably would create a lot more interest. So I started out real spread out. Now I'm starting to come in and make them a little denser. And then I'm gonna get even denser as I move my way down. Again, please don't aggressively do this to where you're going to ruin our markers. And please make sure the lids get on the markers because they are expensive and we can't just be replacing them. Try to stick to the ones that are at your table. Don't take out of other people's bins. You're responsible for the ones that you have. Okay, so same thing, just a different size marker. All right, now I'm going to show you fading with the colors. So say, for example, I'm doing a picture of a sunset and I want to transition from one color into another. I'm going to start with a color. I picked the warm colors just for the example of this. So I'm going to start dotting. How close you dot them is kind of going to be dependent on what the look is you're going for, what you're trying to accomplish, how dark an area is. Okay, and then I want to fade into another color. So I'm going to bring my next color up into the previous color I did before I allow it to start its own section. So I had the red all the way down to there, and then I'm going to go ahead and let the red, orange go into the red area and then make its own section so that it's a gradual fade. And then I'm going to get the next shade of orange that I have lined up. And again, I'm going to come into that previous section with my next color and fade down. Again, these are dots. They should not have little tails on them and turn into little lines. If they do, and I see it, I'm going to ask that you fix it. So I blended this color in, and now I'm working my way down to put the light orange all by itself. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and allow that yellow to come in. And again, weaving it into the existing section where the light orange is. And you can do this with any colors, doesn't have to be the warm colors. But it should be a gradual transition to each color. It should not be lines of each color. Okay, and this could even kind of jump into this previous section if it wanted to. All right, so you have to decide if you're going to do all blacks in your artwork with maybe a few highlights of color, or if you're going to do color Sharpie where you're going to need to do these transitions. And then once you finish this section, that's all you need to finish. You need to do ultrafine Sharpie, you need to do fine tip Sharpie, and you need to try out a color fade. You're going to upload that to Artsonia, and then you're going to be picking out your photo for your project so that we can move forward on the next steps. Make sure that you've done this successfully before you move on. If you didn't get it right the first time, there's plenty of boxes here to try out these methods before moving on.